Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and jelly babies. Welcome to Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. Where do I start exactly? I have notes to the left of me, I have a guidebook to the right of me, and I still don't really even know where to begin with this game. I think the only appropriate place to be in would be to say hello. My name is Morris, and welcome everybody. I am still shamelessly ignorant as to how people find videos on YouTube. So the only thing I can do is thank each and every one of you already for just being here and for clicking on this and for not clicking away immediately when you heard my voice. I really appreciate that. And I invite you all to sit down and relax and get a nice hot drink and curl up, because this is a part of my history right here. This is the very first Final Fantasy game that I ever played back in 2006 when it first came out. I must have been still 15, because I remember talking about it with my friends at high school. It's the first one I ever played. It's such a strange series that it totally passed me by up until this point. Neither myself or anybody that I really knew was talking about Final Fantasy, and looking back, that's so strange. But boy, am I glad I found it when I did. I mean, I must have, I don't know the exact count, but I've clocked in many hundreds of hours in the original version of this. And I'm getting close to that already with this version. I've already been almost all the way through it once, just to kind of take a look at it. I didn't really want to go in blind too much, because I felt like I wanted to compare and, you know, make a list of things that maybe we can talk about. But, you know, we'll get to that. I mean, the point is, this is kind of me trying something a little bit different on this channel. I've never played an RPG on the channel, I don't think. Certainly not a Final Fantasy game. And as with everything else, I have pretty strong opinions about RPGs. I have pretty strong opinions about Final Fantasy games, as well as this game in particular. But like I say, we're going to get into all that later on. But for now, I just want to say thank you for being here. Let's start a new game, shall we? This is going to be, hopefully this is going to be something really special. It already is to me. The fact that I'm able to bring this to you guys just to kind of play it and put it out there is, you know, a big deal for me, because this is really kind of a special game to me personally, and I kind of want to invite you all to share in that. Let's just quickly go through the options, and I'm going to whack the subtitles on. Normal, speed mode, we'll get into that. English. This is a really interesting option here. Having the music, either the original tracks or the reorchestrated tracks. I was constantly blown away all the way through the game. And, you know, we're going to see it as we go through, how amazing the soundtrack is. And, you know, being able to compare the originals with the brand new versions of all the tracks is really special, and I love it. Anyway, we'll keep all the... Well, maybe we'll whack it down just a touch, just in case. And that should be okay. Hopefully you can all hear me okay and see everything okay. You're probably wondering what was with that weird, pixelated, old-looking intro sequence. That's actually... I recorded that from my PS2, because this version, for some reason, doesn't have an introduction. It just starts with the menu and you just go. And I was kind of... that made a bit of a bad first impression on me, because I was kind of excited to see, oh, maybe there's be a new intro, or... even if it's the same intro, it's going to look really good. So I thought, just for the sake of showing you guys what you would see when you normally boot this game up back in the day, I thought I'd put that in for you. And it's pretty hype, I gotta say. I like that intro. I kind of like it because it looks fan-made, but at the same time, it still looks really good. Anyway, let's without further ado, let's begin the game. I'm really excited. I'm sorry. I hope you guys are looking forward to this. I'm going to shut up during cutscenes. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Final Fantasy XII.
In the name of the Father, and in the presence of these holy relics, I hereby pronounce you man and wife from this time forth. May the blessings of the gods light your path for all eternity. Far on.
By both land and air, our kingdom will stand little...
Nabudis has fallen.
Impossible!
My father? I know not. I am sorry.
If Nabudis has indeed fallen, it is only a matter of time before they reach the borders of Dalmasca. There is nothing to halt their advance.
Secure Nalbina with all haste.
I will go.
And I will go at his side.
Galtea, stand watch over your life.
That I be considered worthy.
Blessings of the Great Father descend, and guide your bodies return to the earth. Great Father, guide your spirits return to the Mother of all. There you shall find peace. Pharaoh.
The death of Lord Rasla Heos Nabradia was but one of many tragedies to befall the Kingdom of Dalmasca. The air of hope that had surrounded Her Royal Highness Princess Asha's wedding was now quite lost. Dalmasca had been set adrift at the mercy of history's restless tides. At this time, two great empires struggled for dominion over Ivalice: Arcadia in the east, Rosaria the west. The invasion of the Kingdom of Nabradia was Arcadia's first step in its westward march. With Lord Rasla's beloved homeland consumed by the hellfires of war, it seemed clear that Arcadia would soon mete out a like fate to Dalmasca. The fall of the fortress at Nalbina told the destruction of the greater part of Dalmasca's forces. A counterattack was mounted by the Order of the Knights of Dalmasca, ever brave and faithful. But against the martial might of the Arcadian armies, they stood little chance of victory. Indeed, their defeat was to be absolute. Soon thereafter, Arcadia came forward, offering terms of peace, or, as one might rather put it, terms of Dalmasca's surrender. Lord Ramenas, King of Dalmasca, and my dear friend, had no choice but to accept these terms. It was, thus, only with reluctance that he set out for Nalbina Fortress, now under Arcadian occupation, to affix his seal to the Emperor's Treaty of Peace. The king had scarce departed his royal city of Rabanasta when the remnants of the Order made their return, and not a moment too soon, for a terrible revelation awaited them. The treaty would be signed with steel and writ in royal blood.
You there? Can you hear me?
It's as I feared. They're slowing us down.
Do not say that. Not all of us are here for love of battle. He fights to defend his homeland. Your name?
Rex, sir. My name's Rex.
Good. Rex. You bore a few cuts, but you are still whole. Well, can you stand? Think you can fight?
I'm fine, sir.
How old are you, Rex?
17, sir.
Young. Family?
My brother is all I have left, sir. He's 2 years younger than I, living in Rabanastre.
So young. You're barely old enough to be a man. You shouldn't be forced to wield a sword.
No, sir. I want to fight. For my homeland. And for my parents.
It's time, Bosch. Save the discussion for later. We must reach the king before they act, or all our efforts will be in vain.
I'm aware of the situation.
We found them! Over there!
Bosler, go ahead. I will handle this rabble.
Godspeed.
Steady, Rex. Keep your wits about you and you'll make it.
We move!
Well, I didn't want to ruin it, but I was just about to say, which one of those three guys did you think we were going to control? The badass with the dark hair, the badass with the light hair, or the child with no experience? So here we are. Quite a lengthy opening sequence. We're already on at least 15 minutes. I don't know. I've lost track of time, but it is a long intro. But here we are. And here's our, we're in tutorial land, so nothing can really go wrong here, but that's good, because there's quite a lot that I really want to talk about in the opening sequence. Not really about the game, per se, but just about this Let's Play as a whole, because this is going to be the most Let's Play that anybody's ever seen. This is going to be, I mean, already this is way different to most Final Fantasies. We're controlling the camera. Use the left stick to move. Can you move? Let's move. So yeah, already way different to any other Final Fantasy. This was... I mean, I remember a lot of coverage about this when it first came out, and it was kind of split 50-50. A lot of people were saying this is the way forward, a lot of people saying this is not the way forward that we wanted. But honestly, I think when you look back at this and when it came out, you know, I wasn't too familiar with JRPGs then, but to be honest, looking at the way JRPGs are now, you kind of look at this and go, well, it's interesting to think that maybe this was kind of a big influence on the next decade, really, because this, while it's not, you know, it's not perfect, it was quite I think of it as quite a daring move, and it sort of leans towards that kind of action RPG type style, but it doesn't quite get there, because obviously this was really just a first attempt. But I mean, even if you just look at the Final Fantasy series and where that is now, and you look at something like FF7, I mean, think about the way things were, the way things are now. This was kind of the bridge, if you will, towards that. Anyway, all this tutorial stuff is like, hey, you can talk to people, and you can also use your hands to touch things, and things happen. That sounded a bit saucy, but there you go. Stay focused, Rex. And you will definitely not perish while I'm around. Thanks, Bosh. You can open the party menu and see your equipment and inventory. There's a dude by himself for some reason. So this is the introduction to the kind of battle system. And this was the first time, at least that I'm aware of. I mean, I didn't play FF11. I know that it was online, so I don't really know how the battle system worked there. But this was the first time that it moved away from that sort of, you know, hard and fast turn-based combat. And you're about to see, if you've never seen this before, you're about to see what I mean by kind of the bridge between turn-based and more action-oriented. This is a very long-winded explanation about how to press attack. So you press X and your little menu comes up, and then you have, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, so we just want to attack him. And actually, the first thing really that I want to do, switch that battle speed right up to fast. I normally have it on the fastest possible, but then you can choose whether or not to be able to, I'll just show you real quick. You can choose whether or not to have, when you bring up the menu, you can still move around if you want. But I normally have it on change it to wait, so that when you bring up the menu, the action kind of freezes. And I think this is a lot better just to be able to, especially later on, just to kind of take a breather and go, right, what's the situation, and then how do I need to, how best can I fix it, you know?
Captain?
So this is the first boss, Air Cutter Remora. Nothing really to do here, other than kind of attack. And even if you take damage, the other guys just heal you anyway. You pretty much just wait for Bosch to do everything. which is going to be a theme of this Let's Play. But yeah, like I say, a lot of this is me kind of indulging, really, because I absolutely love this game, and I've played a lot of games on the channel more recently that I'm not too familiar with, and it's kind of like a first-time thing. So I kind of wanted to go back to a game that I know really well for a change. And here's a glimpse at the limit breaks, but we don't have access to that yet.
Headline, this is Sunbury. My engines are hit. She'll not hold much longer.
We receive you, Tonberry. You've leave to retire. Well fought.
My thanks, Antlion. Tonberry disengaging.
So yeah, nothing too complicated going on here. But I mean, I say I know this game really well. Obviously, this is a different version of that game. So if I was playing the original, I'd certainly know a lot more. But this is the original had a lot of problems with it. Despite loving it so much, I kind of acknowledged that there were a few things about it that I didn't really enjoy. And certainly now that I've seen the changes in this version, you know, it's very easy to look back and go, well, actually, that maybe wasn't as good as I remember it. You have a mini-map and also a big map. And there we go. Top right is the mini-map. And I think, yeah, press in the touchpad and you get... I don't know why we already have a map of this place, but there you go. And this zone transition, little blue dots, they still use this. In FF14 they still have that. It's the first time I've ever saw it.
Vossler! Where are you?
What if Captain Ivalice has fallen?
Don't talk such nonsense. Vossler's laughed in the face of death far too many times for him to stop now. Men like him don't die in places like this. We must make haste to reach the king. We will take him to safety.
Is His Majesty unharmed?
He'll agree to an unconditional surrender. They wouldn't dare touch him until the wax on his seal is dry.
But if we arrive after he signed the treaty...
Wait. Quickly, Rex.
Quickly. Ahead we will face many Imperials, but we need not fight them all. Retreat is sometimes the best option. So this is just a way of, obviously in the old games you could flee, but it's just explaining how it kind of works in this instance. So I believe these guys spawn quite a bit, so we don't really need to fight any of them. So we just run past, be a huge coward. That's what this tutorial is telling us to do. So you just hold in R2 and you can leg it through areas. Pretty handy. This is a save crystal. You're going to get a massive boner when you see them because they're amazing. Fully restores your HP and MP, and it restores any status effects as well. Any negative status effects. So we're going to be abusing the hell out of that. So I'm just going to give it a wee save here. And unfortunately, again, this is just a sign of the times. Yeah, I played this game quite a bit. This is just a sign of the times, but there used to be, and it's a really small thing, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things, but there used to be, as with all PS2 games, a very unique save screen when you would save a game, but here, unfortunately, we just get the generic PS4 save screen, which is a bit corporate and a bit plain and a bit uninteresting, and I don't really like it, and it also doesn't display as much information as I would want. Like, it used to give you who was in the party, your levels, you know, the amount of your clan rank, the amount of special abilities that you had, all kinds of things. But now it doesn't really have anything. It just I just have to go off the date, really. And that's it. So it's unfortunately not as easy to tell where you're actually up to, so hopefully I don't save over my other games. Anyway, let's press on, shall we? So yeah, like I say, I have
Intruders! Don't let them escape!
Sir, we have little time. You must go to the king. I'll handle these.
Fight well.
Yeah, this game's very cutscene heavy at the beginning. But like I say, I do have, because This is a new version. I thought, well, let's make it special. I really like this game anyway. I'll get the collector's guide with it. So I do have the guide next to me. And, I mean, I won't necessarily be using it the whole way through because I don't need to. But anytime I get something from the guide, I will make you aware. Because I don't want to seem like one of those people who are like, wow, he knows a lot about this game. But I'm actually just reading it. You know, if I know something, I'll let you know. And if I get something from the book, I will also let you know. Anyway, those guys are chumps. So let's carry on. We do actually have a cure spell already. We don't really need it. But it's there, just in case. Just in case you feel as though you're getting in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, this game is very, how would I describe it, top-heavy, I suppose. In that it's front-loaded with a load of cutscenes, and it's kind of a slow starter, I guess. So we'll be seeing more cutscenes and gameplay at the start. But as, you know, I've explained a lot of mechanics and seen a lot of things before, as the game goes on, I won't be showing, like, every minute of every, you know, dungeon, because there would just be very little point to that.
Your Majesty. Captain, why? Our king, what have you done?
The king intended all along to sell Dalmasca to the Empire. His Majesty was a traitor.
Captain,
Seize the insurgent. Hello!
Well, so much for peaceful negotiations.
We'll never surrender to you. We are not cattle to be sold by a traitor king.
But the war is over, my dear captain. You have lost. Dalmasca is the property of the Empire now. And think, we intended to let you keep some of your sovereignty, out of respect. But now you've gone and ruined that. Haven't you, Captain?
We will never bow to you.
And the people of Dalmasca will hate you for it. Take the captain away.
Off you go.
Vaughn.
Pretenses of peace left by the wayside, the Arcadian forces resumed their advance toward Rabanasta. Dalmasca's doom had been decided. To make resistance would serve no end. With this foremost in my thoughts, I to the people of Dalmasca. Sons and daughters of Dalmasca, I bid you lay down your arms. Raise songs of prayer in their stead. Prayer for His Majesty King Raminas, ever merciful, a man devoted wholly to peace. Prayer, too, for the noble Princess Ash, who, wrought with grief at her kingdom's defeat, has taken her own life. Know also that Captain Bosch von Ronsenberg, for incitement of sedition and the assassination of His Royal Majesty King Raminas, has been found guilty of high treason and put to his death. They who at this late hour choose still the sword are cut of the same cloth as the captain. Traitors who would lead Dalmasca to her ruin. Dalmasca's surrender without terms was soon to follow.
Vaughn! Hurry it up or they'll find us.
I know. Just a little more. You keep an eye out for me up there, Kites. 1, 2, 3 more. All right. Time to clean house.
So here we are. This is I suppose, the real beginning of the game with the one of the main characters. And this is just a little kind of tutorial fight, just to kind of get you used to being this character, even though they all play pretty much the same. It's just a way of introducing him, I suppose. And I've got quite a bit to say about Vaughn. I'm not going to say it yet, because we're just sort of trapped in this little mini battle at the moment, but once we get out of here, we'll kind of examine Vaughn a little bit more closely, I think.
Wow, Vaughn! You got him all yourself? Guess I know who to call when something big comes along.
Hey, it's good practice for the desert. I'm ready for anything now. That's enough for today. You should get back to Miguel's place, Kites. Aren't you running errands for him?
Oops, totally forgot. You should come, Vaughn. He's busy today. Might have some work for you to do, too.
I've got other, work to do. Hey, lock this place up for me, will you? If Miguel finds out we've been down here, he'll tan our hides.
What'd you say?
Sir, you haven't paid, and I...
What? Haven't paid?
On second thought, please, sir, take it. It's a gift.
Leave the poor sod be. We don't want trouble today.
Your luck, peddler.
Oops, sorry.
Watch where you're going, churl.
What? My pouch! It's gone!
The boy! Get out the way! Oh!
What? Hey, that's mine.
What do you mean, yours? You've been stealing again. What happens if they catch you? We need you to be there for us, Vaughn. You're no good to anyone if you're locked away in a dungeon.
Oh, what? Am I the leader now? We're orphans. The first thing you learn is you gotta watch out for yourself. Come on, Pinello. You know it as well as I do. Hey, you give that back. What do you think you're doing?
I thought that this money was the people of Dalmasca's property. The Imperials stole it from us, so it's only fair that we take it back. It's our duty as Dalmascans. Well, wasn't that what you said?
Yeah, but I never said anything about taking it back from me.
This is for that bread you took the other day. Just because I help Miguelo out every now and then, it doesn't mean that you get to eat for free too, you know.
I know that. You think I like living like this? One of these days, I'll fly an airship of my own. I'll be a sky pirate, free to go where I will.
Well, be careful. You'll never fly anything if you're rotting in a dungeon. Oh, Miguelo had some errands that need doing. He wanted you to drop by his place. It might be a good idea to lend a hand.
Okay, your map shows you where to go. And you can now look at the world map, should you choose. Take a quick look at it. Nothing on it, because we've not been anywhere. Alright, so, here is Vaughn. And here is where Vaughn lives. It's very clean. I like it. But anyway, so, let's talk about Vaughn for a second, shall we? Because when this game came out, I remember that people weren't so hot about this being the main character, so to speak. But actually, Vaughn has benefited a lot from hindsight, I believe, because I remember way back when reading in a magazine, I don't know which one it was, but it was probably the official PS2 magazine, because that's the only one I would really get. Still the only one I really get, although obviously now it's PS4. But it was a review of Final Fantasy XII. And I can't remember for the life of me who wrote it, because why would I? It was like 10 years ago. But they were saying that Vaughn doesn't really operate in the same way that a main character would, because Vaughn is not a hero. Vaughn is not, a Cloud figure who's, this badass soldier guy. He's not Squall, he's not training at some badass soldier school, or whatever, typical kind of FF hero style, or typical even RPG style hero. He's just kind of this kid who beats up rats, he's level 1, he has no health. And, he kind of makes his living by stealing. It's not a lot to go on. And to kind of place your audience, to kind of place the player in, in the hands of Vaughn right at the beginning is a really strange decision for this big epic fantasy type thing. But for me, I don't look at Vaughn and go, that's the main character, because we're going to see it as we go on, but this game, I think, does a better job more than other Final Fantasy games of making it so that all 6, eventually you get 6 party members, and all 6 kind of have their role, and kind of have more of a share of the story, I think, more than most Final Fantasy games. And Vaughn, rather than being this kind of main hero guy, it's much better to look at Vaughn as more of like an observer, and even Penelo, who we saw in that scene, who eventually becomes part of the main party later on, both of them kind of act as observers of these other characters, which you might say, well, what's the point? But the way I'm thinking of it right now is, how in Devil May Cry 3 you play Dante, you watch an intro with Dante and Dante's amazing, and then you play as him and you're nowhere near as good, because why would you be? But then in Devil May Cry 4 you play Nero, and through the eyes of Nero you watch Dante and Dante becomes way cooler, right? It's kind of like that, because there are a lot of characters in this that are cool, and I think that they're elevated to a status that they wouldn't have if you were controlling them, or if they were presented as kind of the main guy straight away.
Vaughn, I was waiting.
Penelo said you needed something?
Had me some packages supposed to be arriving by courier. In the morning, perhaps he ran into some trouble out in the desert. Now I've no foodstuffs to prepare for the banquet tonight.
So you want me to find this courier? Hey, no problem.
No problem. The desert teems with trouble. I'd be sending you to early grave, my boy. No, I've arranged for some replacement goods from Tomage over at the Sandsea.
So you want me to go to the tavern to pick him up?
Actually, I asked Kites to do that. Wouldn't you know he's gone missing on me, too. I can't leave my shop, and I've Penelo on another chore at the moment, you see. What I want you to do is run over to the Sandsea and fetch Kites back. What do you say?
Sounds wild.
It's easy work, and you'll thank me for it someday.
I like Miguelo. I like him because I like him because he sounds permanently wasted. Like permanently leathered. You know, he just had too much to drink all the time. So yeah, Vaughn, just to go back to what I was saying, Vaughn acts as this kind of, I don't know, this sort of grounded character. Because the other characters, with the exception of maybe one, none of them have as much of a connection to this place and the kind of the story as a whole. And it's difficult to kind of go into it too much because we haven't seen them, but as they come up, don't worry, I am gonna be probably thinking, what the hell is he talking about? But I am gonna back that up once we start being introduced to the other characters. So yeah, oh god, I love running around this place. And this was very new to me back in the day. Like I say, this is gonna be the most Let's Play ever. So you're gonna hear a lot of great Let's Play cliches like, you know, when I was a kid, this is how I did it, and when I was a kid, this is how it used to be. Blah blah blah, right? Seems to be a staple these days of all Let's Plays, is we gotta say stuff like that. But when I was a kid, I'd never seen anything like this. I'd never been able to run around a city and talk to all these people, and it's very grand, you know? Very different to anything I had seen. Anyway, let's go to the pub. That's the best place to start any RPG. Anything.
There you are, Kites. Stop loafing around.
Look, Vaughn, look! This is it! This is why Miguelo's courier didn't get here on time.
A creature spotted in the Ester Sand. What is that thing?
Ah, Vaughn! Miguelo sent you too, did he? He's a busy man these days, that Miguelo, if I dare say so myself. I don't envy him the work, though. Not a bit. Quite the affair throwing a banquet to welcome the Imperials, eh?
Welcoming? We should be... whatever. Say, Tomaj, what's this?
Nah, don't remind me. Got some nastiness out there in the Ester Sand. What's stopping our couriers? And that means shortages all around. Thought I'd put up a bill, offer a reward to anyone who can knock that nasty back in its place.
Now that's work. Sounds 10 times better than running errands for Miguelo.
That's right! Vaughn, you should give it a shot!
And you should be getting back to Miguelo. Now, Kites. He was waiting for you.
Oh, right.
So here's how it works. People post bills here on the notice board when they have a monster they need taken care of. Headhunters track people, right? Well, hunters track monsters. And this is the very threatening opening hunt monster. Here's the bill I posted for the rogue tomato. Do you want to hear all the details? You know what, for the benefit of all you people out there, yes I do. Let's start with accepting hunts. You can't just take a look at the board and then go off and think that's not how it's done, okay? You gotta talk to the person who posted the bill because they got all the information and let him know. So I posted this, so it's fine, you just talk to me. Once your agreement's in place, the petitioner will tell you how to find the mark, then you hunt it, report back, and you get your reward. Here's a clan primer, so that you don't have to remember all this. Go ahead and take this, just a little something to commemorate your first hunt. You got an item. Oh, looks like you're an idiot and you can't equip it because you're an idiot. Think of it, so you gotta buy the license for it. They make you smarter, so you can use all this stuff. How can I equip it? Just equip it, I guess. That's a really strange piece of dialogue because we're about to be introduced to the license board and the job system, which is it's the main thing that has been changed about this version of the game to the old version, but they kept the old dialogue. So normally here you would be given a tutorial about licenses, but now because it's all changed, you don't really have that tutorial anymore, so you would go into the menu, it would take you into the menu and show you the license board and, you know, you do it all. But there he says, here, let me show you. He doesn't actually do anything. Anyway, take this so you can leave. I'll throw it at your chest. Congratulations, you caught it. Go out the east gate. Rogue Tomato, the hunt begins. I think it's really interesting looking at this now. No, I don't need that. I think it's really interesting looking at this now, given the fact that Final Fantasy 15 is now a thing that exists, and is basically a game about this. It's a game about this notice board, where you just go off and hunt giant things. As far as I'm aware, this was the first game that did that in the Final Fantasy series. I'm not aware that there was a hunt system in any of the others. Maybe 11 again. I know nothing about 11, but it seems like being online it might have the potential to do so. But there you go. Anyway, let's go out and hunt the rogue tomato, shall we? But before we do that, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping, because you're probably sitting there wondering, well, this episode's going on quite a bit. What's with that? As far as episode length goes, like I say, this is kind of top-heavy. There's a lot of cutscenes at the beginning, so I wanted to get past the majority of the introduction just in the opening episode, so we're not kind of, it feels like we're moving along a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it's just a case of the episode length is going to vary a little bit based on what we're doing. So here we're being introduced to characters, we're being introduced to game mechanics and the story and everything else, so we're going to be seeing everything. I'm not going to edit any of this out. But later on, like I say, once we get used to everything and the dungeons get longer and longer, there's not going to be as much of a need to see everything. But I'm going to include everything that I feel is relevant or interesting, anything that's going on. And as far as side quests and things like that goes, and hunts as well, this one is mandatory, but the rest of them are optional. So it's going to be a case of, well, if that looks like it might be good to show, we'll show that. If any of you guys are familiar with this game, you want to see something specifically, let me know, because I'm sure that there's nothing really kind of that's beyond our grasp, really, apart from the very, very late game stuff, but we'll see. Anyway, let's talk about licenses, shall we? There's going to be a lot of me talking in this Let's Play. I hope that's okay. If you're a fan of just watching gameplay and that's it, well, you'll have already left, so that's fine. Everybody who's here right now, I assume is okay with me talking. Anyway, let's look at the licenses, shall we? Because like I say, this is one of the big, massive changes, and I want to spend a few minutes talking about how it's changed, what it was before, why it's much better now. So, licenses. In order to use weapons, armor, and magics, you must first obtain the proper license. Learn the licenses that support your playstyle to create your own unique party. So, just to kind of give you a bit of backstory about the license board, we'll just take a look at one just as a kind of example. So, this is what a license board looks like. So it's basically, you can't just buy an item and use it. You have to buy the item, and then you have to buy the license to be able to use the item. Now, in the old games, everybody had the same license board. There was only one license board, and all six, because eventually you get 6 party members, all 6 had access to the same license board, and everything was in the same position. They would all start out in certain areas. So, for example, this license board starts on that spot, so you can attack and use items, right? And then you have a dagger there as well. Other characters might start over here because maybe they use a gun, or one character might start over here because they use a bow, etc. But everything is in the same place. Now, however, we have the job system. So that was the license board for the Shikari, who uses daggers. What else have they got? First aid, that's useless, doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is they're kind of a quick character, they use daggers, whatever. Now we have Knight, we have Monk, we have Battle Mage, Archer, all kinds of different things. If we just go on Black Mage, you can see we start here, but we have different, options of where we want to go. So Fire and Thunder there, for example. Bit of Black Magic, Mystic Armor, slightly different. So this basically changes how the game is played completely. Because the problem that you used to run into, and it wasn't necessarily a problem, it was more of a limitation. But we'll call it a problem now, because looking back, I guess it was a problem. The fact that everybody had the same license board meant that everybody could do the same thing. And the problem with that is that having 6 characters that can all do the same thing, you would basically pick your 3 favorite characters, and you would carry them through the whole... They would carry you, rather, through the whole game, and the other 3 would kind of be left by the wayside. So if you ever ran into a problem, and you do a lot of times in this game, especially later on, if you ever ran into a problem where your main party would be completely wiped out, all of a sudden you have to rely on 3 members that are basically useless in order to revive your main party. And that was kind of although it was hilarious and stressful at the time, really not a great way to manufacture an RPG in a kind of, a party system. Now, because there are 12 jobs spread out over 6 characters, everybody now has their part to play. And I'm going to pick Shikari as for Vaughn, just because I tend to pick things that are the most appropriate for the characters. And the system that I've got running in my other game, it's not perfect, but I feel like I've got a really good balance. So now that we pick Shikari for Vaughn, this is our main license board, and you do get a second job later on, but we don't need to worry about that yet. So you can see there he starts out with a dagger. This is why I feel that maybe it's appropriate for Vaughn to be to have this job. Basically, this is a DPS job, so you attack very quickly, and that's pretty much all you need at the moment is a quick attack. But you can see there the license there for the armlet that the guy gave us. Now we have the license, we have the armlet. Now we can equip it. So let's go into equip, and this is where we equip all our stuff. We have basically nothing. But if we go into the accessories, we can see that makes us a little bit stronger. So let's go ahead and put that on. Now, you don't really need to select a job straight away. But for me, I like to kind of establish who's doing what pretty early on. Just so I know way ahead of time. So yeah, now you have a bit more variation in how your party is set up. So rather than having 3 characters, all with the same weapon, all being able to buff themselves because they all know the same spells, it's not as simple as that anymore. And you have it's a bit more interesting how you set your party up. But anyway, as more characters are kind of introduced, we'll be seeing more of that. Anyway, this is a weird little thing, which I think, this game is huge. There are tens of hours, hundreds of hours worth of content in this game. I feel like it was maybe meant to be bigger in some places. Like maybe they had to cut stuff out, and this is one of the early examples of that. So if you talk to this guy, the desert merchant, I made it in from the XII just before they closed the gates, but my friend was stopped before he could get through. Could you take him something? Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Excellent, you should find him outside, just by the east gate. Banger like myself. Don't go selling that to pocket the guild for yourself, you hear? You obtain a small package. Behave. So this is our first piece of loot, called a small package. And that, to me, suggests, oh, maybe that's a bit of a side quest. Like, you go out there and you give it to him, and then, maybe you set off on a weird little side adventure. But literally the only thing you can really do with that is give it to the guy, and he thanks you and gives you nothing. And that's it. So maybe that's an introduction to side quests. But maybe it's just a little bit a way of earning an extra bit of gil, because we are going to sell that. we don't really need to keep it. How much gil do we actually have? 150? That's fine, we don't really need anything at the start.
You there, let's see some papers, boy. No public passage on account of the Lord Consul's parade.
Oh, gee, that's too bad. You see, it just so happens that your provisioner for the fete tonight, he sent me to pick up a few choice morsels for the, Consul's dining pleasure. He wants them quick. I got the writ of transit right here. You see? Signed, Magello. I just hate to see the Consul upset because his food wasn't ready on time. And I sure hate to see him take it out on you.
The Lord Consul is a great man, and not one to take offense in such trifling matters. Move along, boy. Wouldn't do to keep the Consul waiting. Right, gates are closed after this.
I'm not quite sure how I feel about all the horrible Imperial guys being common as muck Southerners from England. Like, I don't know why we get that role in this game. Everybody who's a hero guy is American, and everybody who's a horrible person is English, but there you go. Anyway, I save crystal right here, so we'll just replenish. I don't think I'll need that much in the way of save rotation. I'm just going to keep it to 3 slots so I don't get confused. I think that's the easiest way. I don't want to save over my other games. It's generally best to save at any possible opportunity here. But you'll see in the top left, when we go to different screens, in the top left there's a little autosave icon, which is really handy for a lot of times in this game. It's quite an interesting addition that it autosaves every time. It's not really something that you would think would be included in an RPG as an autosave mechanic, but I tend to make manual saves wherever I can. So yeah, if we talk to this guy, the hapless merchant, we can give him that small package and he thanks us, and then we never see him again. So rather than do that, we'll just sell it whenever we come to a merchant. So here we are, about to head out into the world. And I'll do this hunt, and then I'll probably call it for this episode, because we are getting on a little bit in terms of time. And I'm aware that, you know, sometimes my laptop blows up when I try and edit really long videos. But you can see here, this is one of the things that... Oh yeah, this reminds you that it was a PS2 game, because that is clearly just an image of where we're about to go. That is there. These places are not as connected as maybe they seem. And it's really, really apparent in some cases that it's just an image. But there you go. So here we are, the Dalmasca Estersand. Just a nice little easy area to be introduced to how this game works. And it's a really fun area at the beginning because it's kind of, you know, it's that thing of you going out into the world but not really. This is like the university of Final Fantasy XII, where you just kind of dipping your toe in the water of independence, but you're not actually quite there yet. But this area is really awesome because it sets up the game perfectly, I think, and introduces you to a lot of different things. So there's chests about in the world, and I'm not going to go into chests right now because, again, that's going to require another long-winded explanation. You can look forward to that in the next episode. But you can see here we have little enemies, a Cactite. Cactite A and Cactite B, his friend over here. Oh no, that's Cactite C. B must be out in the wilderness somewhere. So right away we have enemies that aren't hostile to you, and we have enemies that are asleep. So you can see already we're introduced to kind of different ways of that the enemies are going to spawn into locations. We're just going to take this chest real quick. We're not going to do too much fighting because we are still level 1. And you can see there, green health bar for non-hostile and red health bar for hostile. So let's go ahead and smack this wolf. And that Cactite's really interested in that fight. We should probably just be safe and take out anything that might go after us for the time being. But yeah, you can see how this game is a lot of it can be automated, really. Once you hit attack, you pretty much just auto attack until you're done. You don't really have anything else to do. And this first hunt, the Rogue Tomato, pretty simple and pretty easy to find. Oh, nice combo there, Vaughn. It doesn't have, you know that poster that they put up in the bar? It had a lot of, it was quite vicious looking. It had a lot of large teeth, but you don't actually see it there. It's not nearly as threatening as it looked. I'm going to try and avoid this guy if I can. I don't want to drag anyone into this fight that I don't need to. Please don't flame me. There. Easy. If only all the hunts were so simple.
Galbana lilies? Never thought I'd see him growing out here. Ugh. This'll make a nice souvenir. Time to call it a day.
It has been a long day, hasn't it, Vaughn? Killed many creatures of the world. So I just want to show you something else about this area. It's probably my favorite thing about this opening area. We'll just get rid of this wolf, just in case. Okay. So, my favorite thing about this area is this rather scary looking T-Rex-like monster. What's it actually called? A wild Saurian. And you can see it's got a green health bar there. It's actually not hostile to us unless we attack it first. I don't want to get too close, just in case it changes. But I think this is really good. If I attack this, this will kill me in one hit. But that's not why I like it. I like it because it's this real interesting look at kind of... It's a look ahead, almost. Because I imagine a lot of players tried to attack this. And I imagine a lot of players like myself died way back in the day. I'm not going to be that crazy now. This is clearly a much higher level than 1. And the thing about the Esther Sand is, you come out here once or twice at the start of the game, but you don't come back here for a really long time. And so, it's... I don't know, it's kind of... it's almost like looking at... how do I describe it? It's this thing of power. It's this thing of you are really weak now, but when you come back, you're going to be able to fight this thing, you know? And it's this almost like this look ahead that, you know, enemies are going to be really, really powerful later on. I don't know, is it going to attack that wolf? Sometimes it eats other wolves and increases its own level, which again is another really interesting mechanic that you don't really see that much, but for some reason is in this game. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell too long on that because I don't want it to turn hostile at all. We're actually real near leveling up, so I might just go ahead and attack some of these wolves. I'm going to play it real safe and just take a potion because I didn't mean aggro 3 at a time there. Come on, Vaughn, pick up the pace. Oh, yeah. I don't think any Final Fantasy game has such a satisfying level up sound. But yeah, one of the things I really love about this area... Do you remember in... those of you who've played Final Fantasy XIII will know exactly what I'm talking about. But do you remember when you get to that moment in that game where you come out into an area and it's like a massive field of green? And you see like a behemoth in the distance and you see like all these different paths leading off and you look at the map and you go, wow, this is huge. Do you remember how that's about, what, 15 hours into the game? I mean, how ridiculous is that? But that's the first time you really get a sense of an open world Final Fantasy when you're playing that game. Here, it's been, you know, it's under an hour and we're in that area already. And it's just this feeling of immediate freedom to just go and fight things and do things and collect items and whatever you want to do, pretty much. I don't know, it's just a really liberating feeling this early on in the game. I love it. Look at that picture of the city. Alright, let's head back. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Anyway, we'll come back to the save crystal here. I think I'm going to call it now for the first episode. I've spoken a lot, I need a drink. But I'm going to save it here. And plan out the next episode. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't know how long all these episodes are going to be. They'll vary in length. Some of them might be the usual half an hour. Some of them might be longer than this, if I dare even do that. It really depends what's going on at the time. And obviously, I'm going to be using the guide and a bit of my own memory and knowledge to kind of map out the different episodes, just to kind of plan where we're going, where we're going to be, what we're going to look at, and what we're going to talk about. But for now, I really hope that you've enjoyed this opening episode. I know it was kind of, you know, information heavy, and I've been talking a lot at you, but I really love this game, and I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about it. You know, if you played it all those years ago, what did you think about it then, and what do you think about it now if you played this version? If you've never seen it before, I hope you're really excited. I know it's a bit different to the things that you normally see on this channel, but hopefully you'll give it a chance, because I'm not going to stop, so hopefully, you know, hopefully you'll warm to it a little. I just want to thank you all for watching this rather long opening episode. If you could leave a like on this video and a little bit of feedback, just letting me know how I'm doing and how the game is and everything, any comments at all, I'd really love to hear from you guys. You know, it's a part of me, it's a part of my heart, it's a part of my soul, this game. So to put it out there, it means a lot to me, and it certainly means a lot to me that you would, you know, stop and watch it, certainly. But for now, before I start to cry everywhere, I'll just bid you farewell. I hope you have a good day or night, wherever this is, and I hope to see you all in the next episode, guys. And I will see you in a bit. See you later.